Can you believe that it's been nearly 50 years since Star Wars first became such a massive phenomenon? All this time later, the Star Wars franchise is stronger than ever, with new films and TV shows constantly being put into production to keep fans happy. But what are the stories fans may not know of the first film? What really went into making this space opera that helped to set the tone for sci-fi in the modern age? Stay with us as we touch on 10 unknown facts that are sure to raise an eyebrow or two. Number 10, the title was going to be very different and very long. That's right, Star Wars wasn't always the title it was destined to be. Creator George Lucas originally envisioned a much more, ambitious title for the saga. One that would roll off the tongue, not so much. Originally, the title was to be Adventures of the Star Killer, as taken from the Journal of the Whills, Saga 1, The Star Wars. Thankfully, redraft after redraft had Lucas shortening the title, and we landed on the historic, much shorter name. The original title also alludes to the fact that Luke Skywalker's name was originally going to be Luke Starkiller, a bit more of a negative surname for sure. But again, thank the maker that Lucas made a quick edit on this. Number 9, Orson Welles was almost in the film. Could you really imagine anyone else but James Earl Jones lending that booming voice to Darth Vader?
I am your father.
Well, count your lucky Star Destroyers, because it almost wasn't on the cards. Lucas originally had a very specific name in mind for who would give life to the voice of Lord Vader himself, Orson Welles. You know, Orson Welles, the guy from that film, what was it, Citizen Lane or something? Anyway, Lucas eventually decided against this, believing Welles' voice would be too recognizable and take the viewer's attention away from the plot of the movie. This led him to James Earl Jones instead.
You have failed me for the last time, Admiral.
Darth Vader's man behind the mask, David Prowse, actually believed that he would be voicing the villain from the start. Only finding out that actually wasn't the case later on. Yeesh. Number 8, Brian De Palma gave us the opening crawl. Did you ever expect that the director of Scarface
Say hello to my little friend!
would be instrumental in one of the most iconic Star Wars tropes ever? As some filmmakers do, Lucas held a screening of A New Hope for some of his friends. One of the people in attendance was Brian De Palma. Something that the director noticed was that the film threw viewers straight into the thick of it, showing the world of Star Wars with very little context of what was going on. De Palma voiced this concern to Lucas and told him to add in a prologue to get viewers up to speed. Lucas said say no more and proceeded to write 6 paragraphs for a prologue to kick the movie off. De Palma then apparently responded by saying the following: "George, you are out of your mind. It's gibberish and it goes on forever. It looks like it was written on a driveway. Let me write it for you." Needless to say, De Palma rewrote it and we got the original opening crawl that you see in the film today. Brian De Palma, may the force be with you, sir. Number 7, George Lucas's wife killed Obi-Wan Kenobi. Lucas's wife at the time, Marcia, was the main reason for Luke's Jedi Master being struck down by Vader as we enter the third act of the movie. When experiencing writer's block for the third act of the movie, Marcia was quick to suggest that C-3PO should bite the dust. I know, how dare she? Well, Lucas tossed this idea aside straight away, believing that the droids should bookend the film no matter what. It was then that Marcia suggested Obi-Wan being killed. As it fit in with Luke's journey perfectly, Lucas obliged, and the rest is history. Number 6, George Lucas went on vacation during the movie's premiere. We would all be entitled to a good break after such a tough production, but so soon, George? Fearing that Star Wars would turn out to be a flop, Lucas skipped the premiere and went on vacation to Hawaii with a friend of his. Maybe you've heard of him. His name is Steven Spielberg. Little did Lucas know that whilst he was topping up on his tan, Star Wars would be doing well for itself at the box office. Funnily enough, it was during this vacation that the filmmakers came up with the idea for Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. The mind boggles. Number 5, Han shot first, in a pretty sneaky way. It has long been argued as to whether Han got the shot off first against Greedo. Though it has been altered in later versions of the film so that Greedo also had a fair shot at the captain of the Millennium Falcon, we do know that Han did in fact get his blaster trigger moving before Greedo even had a chance in the original version. For the original footage, as Solo reaches for and unbuckles his blaster, keep a close eye on his other hand. Whether or not Han Solo spent some time at magician school, we don't know, but he's using a good lot of misdirection by naturally having his other hand in the air and against the wall so as to keep Greedo's gaze away from his trigger finger. Alas, Lucas wanted to develop Solo's archetype a bit more and gave his opponent a shot also. Either way, Greedo lost in both scenarios. Number 4, movie theaters didn't want to show the film. I bet they're eating their words now. When 20th Century Fox worked to distribute the movie to theaters across the US, under 40 of them agreed to show it. 32 to be exact. From there, the studio had to get firm. They said that any movie theater that refused to show Star Wars would lose the rights to screen another of their upcoming movies, The Other Side of Midnight. Theaters withdrew their original choice, and Star Wars was soon showing in 1,098 cinemas across America. Would you believe that The Other Side of Midnight only made 5% of what Star Wars did? Number 3, Han Solo was almost played by some big names. We couldn't really imagine anyone else playing the stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder that we all know and love, right? Well, that was almost a reality. In fact, Lucas originally didn't even allow Ford to audition. The director wanted a completely new list of unnamed actors to be a part of the movie, and Ford had previously been in Lucas's 1973 movie American Graffiti. Whilst Ford was out of the running, other names were brought in to read. This included James Caan, Nick Nolte, Christopher Walken, Al Pacino, and Kurt Russell. That's quite an impressive list. However, eventually Ford did end up bagging the role, and he was propelled into stardom overnight. Number 2, Darth Vader's iconic music doesn't appear. It's crazy when you think about it, isn't it? The Imperial March always finds its way into some form of Star Wars project nowadays, but it's hard to believe that the original film doesn't actually feature Vader's iconic theme tune. The main reason for this was simply due to the fact that the theme belongs to Darth Vader and the Galactic Empire. During A New Hope, they are not the main focus of the movie, and we don't actually get to know Vader other than the fact that he's the bad side's muscle and the villain of the piece. Rest assured, it was only one movie later that the iconic theme was introduced and Star Wars' soundtrack got that bit more amazing. Number 1, Harrison Ford didn't learn his lines for an iconic scene.
Everything's under control, situation normal.
What happened?
Had a slight weapons malfunction.
One of the most humorous lines from Star Wars actually turned out to be unscripted. It was no secret that Ford wasn't a fan of Lucas's dialogue, and it didn't flow so well for him. He even famously told Lucas that though he can write the words, they can't be spoken. This led to him going off book for the famous intercom scene where Han and Luke infiltrate the Death Star.
We're fine. We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
The reason Solo looked so uncomfortable on what to say to the Imperial officer, he wasn't sure what to say. In the end, it did give the moment a lot of naturalism and more fun as we watched Solo squirm. Apologies, George. Harrison wins this one. You can be sure to know that over these facts we've highlighted, there's a ton more out there for you to rifle through. Did you know about any of these facts? Want to tell us some tidbits that you know yourself? Make sure to let us know in the comment section below. Also, Christopher Walken as Han Solo? Just let the idea sink in for a minute or two. What could have been?